I thought support groups were supposed to help you heal, not make you question whether your memories are real. I've been putting this off for months. The community center smells like burnt coffee and industrial disinfectant, and fluorescent lights buzz overhead like dying insects. But I'm here. I'm finally here. The support group meets in a circle of mismatched chairs. 7 of us tonight, including Dr. Reeves, our facilitator. She has kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses and speaks in that gentle, measured way therapists perfect. This is a safe space, she reminds us as we settle in. I tell them about the accident, how the rain made the road slick that October night, how the semi-truck ran the red light at the intersection of Oak and Fifth, how I was the only survivor. My voice shakes as I describe waking up in the hospital, learning that my sister Emma was gone. The others nod with understanding that feels almost sacred. Maria speaks next, and my breath catches. She lost her brother in a car accident too. Same intersection, Oak and Fifth. Same month. Same rain. It's remarkable how specific trauma can connect us, Dr. Reeves says, and I catch her watching my reaction carefully. The details we share often align more than people realize. James goes next. Lost his best friend in a motorcycle crash. Different intersection, but still in October. Still raining. Still the only survivor. The way he describes the hospital smell, the beeping machines, the moment he learned his friend was gone, it's like listening to my own voice echoing back. Then Sarah. Her story is different. A house fire, not a vehicle accident. But she mentions the exact phrase I remember the doctor using. Sometimes these things just happen, and there's nothing anyone could have done. Word for word. The same inflection. The same pause before nothing. I should find this strange. I know I should, but I'm so desperate for this connection, this understanding, that I push the thought away. It's probably normal, right? Doctors use similar language. People process trauma in similar ways. That's why support groups work. But as we continue around the circle, each person sharing, I notice something that makes my skin crawl. We all describe the same recurring nightmare. Standing at the scene, watching it happen again, unable to move or scream. In every dream, there's a woman in a red coat who appears just before we wake up. She never speaks, just stares with eyes that seem to know something we don't. I've never mentioned the red coat woman to anyone. I was certain she was unique to my dreams, some weird manifestation of my guilt. But here's Marcus describing her perfectly, down to the vintage brass buttons on her coat and the way she tilts her head slightly to the right. Dr. Reeves takes notes throughout, nodding encouragingly. But when Sarah mentions the red coat woman, I catch something that makes my stomach drop. Dr. Reeves' pen stops moving. For just a moment, her expression shifts. Not surprise. Recognition. Like she's been waiting for this detail. That's fascinating, she says, recovering quickly. Dreams often share common symbolic elements in trauma recovery. It's more common than you might think. But her hand trembles slightly as she writes. As the session ends and we file out, I can't shake the feeling that something's fundamentally wrong. The coincidences are too perfect, too aligned. 7 strangers with such specific, overlapping experiences. I tell myself I'm overthinking it. Trauma makes you see patterns where there aren't any. I need this group. I need these people who understand the weight I carry. But driving home, I can't stop replaying Dr. Reeves' face when Sarah mentioned the red coat. She knew. Somehow she already knew about the woman in our dreams. I grip the steering wheel tighter and force myself to focus on the road. I'm probably just scared of getting better. Scared of letting go of the pain that's become my identity. That has to be it. Right? 3 weeks in, and the coincidences are piling up like debris after a storm. My hands shake as I drive to group tonight, and I can't tell if it's anxiety or something deeper. Tonight, Maria mentions her favorite childhood book, The Secret Garden. My breath stops. That was Emma's favorite too. But then James nods and says it was his friend Danny's favorite as well. Then Sarah. Then Marcus. All of us, describing the same worn copy with the green cloth cover and gold lettering. The same loose page 47 that always fell out. It's a very popular children's book, Dr. Reeves says, but her pen hovers over her notepad without writing. I notice she's stopped taking notes when we share these details. I start paying closer attention to our stories, cataloging the details that should be unique to each of us. Maria's brother loved building model airplanes, specifically World War II fighters. So did my sister Emma. So did James's friend Danny. We all described the same plastic P-51 Mustang, the one with the tiny pilot figure you could see through the cockpit window, the one with the small chip on the left wing. The phrase we all remember our loved ones saying the morning they died. "Don't worry, I'll be careful." Exact same words. Same tone of voice, slightly rushed, slightly annoyed at being asked, like they were all reading from the same script. My chest feels tight. I start taking notes of my own, comparing details when I get home. The similarities are impossible. We all remember our loved ones wearing the same cologne, something called Cedar and Rain, that I can't find in any store when I search for it online. We all remember the last song playing in the car, Blue Moon by Billie Holiday. We all remember checking the time right before impact, 9:47 p.m. Exact same time. 7 different accidents. 7 different nights. 7 different months, but all in October. I stare at my notes until my vision blurs. There has to be an explanation. Maybe memory distorts trauma. Maybe we're unconsciously adopting each other's details, creating false memories through suggestion. Maybe I'm losing my mind. But then, I decide to verify something concrete. I drive to Oak and Fifth, where Maria and I supposedly lost our loved ones. I examine the intersection, looking for evidence of multiple accidents, skid marks, memorial flowers, police reports posted online. There's nothing. No evidence of any accident at all. The intersection looks pristine, untouched. My hands shake as I call the hospital where I thought I recovered, where we all claim we recovered. The nurse on duty checks their records going back 3 years. "I'm sorry," she says. "We don't have any record of a patient by that name." "Are you sure you have the right hospital?" I try the police station. The officer at the front desk looks at me with genuine confusion. "Oak and Fifth? Ma'am, that intersection's been under construction for the past 18 months. Been completely blocked off. There couldn't have been an accident there." Names. My vision tunnels. I grip the counter to steady myself. That's impossible. I was there. I remember the rain, the sirens, everything. "Ma'am, are you feeling all right? Do you need me to call someone?" I stumble back to my car, my mind fracturing. I dig through my glove compartment, looking for the accident report, the insurance paperwork, anything concrete. But there's nothing. Just my registration and an empty space where important documents should be. I call Emma's number, the one I've been carrying in my phone for 3 years, the one I sometimes dial just to hear her voicemail. The number rings and rings until a robotic voice tells me it's been disconnected. No forwarding information available. At home, I tear through photo albums with desperate hands, looking for pictures of Emma. There are gaps everywhere. Spaces where photos should be, but the albums look wrong, like they've been carefully edited. In the few pictures I find with 2 people, the second person's face is always blurred or turned away, as if someone deliberately obscured their features. I'm having a breakdown. That has to be it. The trauma finally caught up with me, and I'm having some kind of psychotic episode. But tomorrow is group therapy, and I need answers. I need to confront Dr. Reeves about these impossible coincidences. I need to understand what's happening to us. Or what's been done to us. I arrive at group early, my whole body vibrating with nervous energy. Dr. Reeves is setting up her usual materials, notepad, tissues, a small recording device I never noticed before. How did I never notice that? "Dr. Reeves, I need to talk to you about the inconsistencies," she says without looking up. Her voice is different, clinical, cold. I've been waiting for one of you to notice. My mouth goes dry. "One of us? Sit down, please." She turns to face me, and her kind eyes are gone. replaced by something calculating. The others will be here soon, and I'd prefer to explain this only once. Ah. As the group assembles, I study everyone's faces with new eyes. Maria looks confused, lost. James keeps checking his phone like he's expecting a message that will never come. Sarah's hands shake as she takes her usual seat, and I realize mine are shaking too. We're all feeling it, the wrongness we can't name, the truth pressing against our skulls. Dr. Reeves closes her notepad and faces us directly. First, let me clarify something. My name is Dr. Sarah Reeves, and I'm not a grief counselor. I'm a cognitive neuroscientist specializing in memory reconstruction therapy. It's all. The room goes silent, except for the fluorescent buzzing overhead. That sound, I realize I hate that sound. I've always hated it. None of you have experienced actual trauma, she continues, her words falling like hammer blows. The memories you've been sharing, the accidents, the deaths of your loved ones, they're artificial constructs. Therapeutic implants designed to create controlled, manageable psychological pain. No, I can't process the words. They bounce around my skull like bullets. That's impossible. I remember Emma. I remember everything about her. Her laugh, her smile, the way she used to steal my sweaters. You remember what we gave you to remember, Dr. Reeves says, and there's something almost gentle in her voice now. Pity, maybe. The program is called Project Synthesis. You all volunteered, though I understand the consent process was complex. Well, what don't lie. Marcus stands up suddenly, his chair scraping against the floor. This is insane. Danny died. I was there. I held his hand in the ambulance while he bled out. Marcus, please sit down. I know this is difficult, but the physical responses you're experiencing, the grief, the survivor's guilt, the love you felt for these people, they're real. The memories triggering them are not. My vision tunnels. Everything feels distant, like I'm watching this happen to someone else through thick glass. Why? Why would you do this to us? Because you asked us to, Dr. Reeves replies, and her words shatter something inside me. Each of you came to our facility with severe clinical depression. Treatment resistant. You were all empty, hollow. You described feeling nothing, no joy, no sadness, no connection to anything or anyone. You were barely alive. Named. Sarah starts crying, but even her tears look confused. I don't understand. I don't understand any of this. Fail. The artificial trauma gives you something to process, something to work through. It creates the capacity for emotional engagement that your brains had lost. The shared details, they're intentional. Group therapy requires commonality to function effectively. Yeah, I think about the past 3 weeks. The first time in, how long? Months? Years? The first time I felt truly connected to other people. The relief of shared understanding. The sense that my pain mattered because others experienced it too. All of it built on a lie. Who were we before? My voice sounds small, broken, like a child's. That's complicated. Your original personalities showed severe dissociative patterns. We had to create stable baseline identities to anchor the therapeutic memories. In essence, you are who you are now because of the treatment. Wow. The room spins. If the trauma isn't real, and the personalities hosting that trauma aren't real, then what am I? What's left when you strip away everything you think you know about yourself? The question is, Dr. Reeves continues, what do you want to do now? We can remove the artificial memories, but you'll return to your previous state of emotional void. Or you can keep them and continue processing the synthetic grief in a controlled environment. I stare at my hands. They're shaking, but they feel foreign, like they belong to someone else, which I guess they do. The group disbands that night, without a decision. Dr. Reeves gives us a week to think it over. A week to decide whether we want to keep our beautiful, terrible lies or return to whatever emptiness we were before. I spend the days that follow in a strange liminal space, suspended between truth and fiction. I still feel the grief for Emma. It sits in my chest like a physical weight, real as a tumor. But now there's another layer underneath it. The knowledge that Emma never existed. Which feeling is more authentic? The synthetic sorrow or the genuine confusion? I try to remember who I was before the treatment. The memories are there but distant, like looking through frosted glass. I remember sitting in waiting rooms, filling out endless forms, describing the crushing numbness that had replaced every emotion. I feel like I'm watching life through television. I told someone. A doctor, maybe. Everything seems far away and unimportant. Like I'm not really here. I remember the consent forms, though the details are fuzzy. Something about experimental therapy. Something about the risks being minimal compared to the alternative. I remember signing my name with a hand that felt disconnected from my body, desperate for anything that might make me feel human again. And it worked, didn't it? These past weeks, grieving Emma, connecting with the group, I felt more alive than I had in... how long? Even now, knowing it's artificial, the pain has meaning. It gives shape to my days. It makes me care about something, even if that something never existed. Without it, what am I? Just an empty shell pretending to be a person? I think about Maria, James, Sarah, Marcus. Are they going through the same internal debate? Do they remember the hollow people we used to be? Or are those memories artificial too? How deep does the fabrication go? The night before our final session, I dream about Emma. We're at the park where we used to play as children. Except I've never had a sister. Never played in that park. The swing set exists only in my manufactured memories. In the dream, she's sitting on the swings, pumping her legs to go higher. Are you going to forget me? She asks without looking at me, her voice carried on wind that smells like cedar and rain. I don't know, I tell her. You're not real. No, I don't. Neither are you, she says, and when she finally turns to look at me, her face is blurred like the photos in my album. But we're here now. Isn't that enough? I wake up with tears on my cheeks and a decision in my heart. At our final session, Dr. Reeves asks each of us to state our choice. Maria chooses to keep the memories. Even if Roberto isn't real, loving him changed me, she says. I don't want to go back to feeling nothing. James agrees. So does Sarah. Marcus hesitates, then nods. When it's my turn, I look around the circle at these people who share my artificial pain. I choose. I begin, then stop. Because here's the thing about that night. I don't remember what I chose. I don't remember the words that came out of my mouth. I don't remember walking out of that community center or driving home. The memory just stops. What I remember is waking up in my apartment the next morning with a strange sense of loss. Not for anyone specific, just a general ache, like I'd misplaced something important but couldn't remember what. I found a business card in my wallet for a grief support group. New orientation tonight. Someone had written on the back in handwriting I didn't recognize. So here I am again, walking into the community center. The same fluorescent lights buzz overhead. The same smell of burnt coffee and disinfectant. Dr. Reeves smiles as I enter the room full of strangers. Welcome, she says. This is a safe space. I take my seat in the circle and wait for my turn to share. Somewhere in the back of my mind, a woman in a red coat watches from the shadows of my dreams. But I can't quite remember her face.